Three-way switch system approved by NEC everywhere and in every room. The presented system is the simplest system for installation in new rooms. The system meets NEC, National Electrical Code, requirements for a neutral wire required in each switch controlling lighting in certain rooms of homes. As per Article 404.2 c of 2023 NEC, the grounded circuit conductor, neutral, shall be installed at all switch locations serving bathrooms, hallways, stairways and the rooms defined as habitable in the building code. If switches in multiple locations control the same lighting load over the entire area of a room or space and that room or space is visible from a single or combined switch locations, a grounded conductor, neutral, is required at only one switch location. Three-way system with the neutral wire in both switch junction boxes. Sketch of a three-way system with the neutral wire in both switch junction boxes. Diagram of a three-way system with the neutral wire in both switch junction boxes. The wiring shown in this video complies with all NEC requirements for such wiring. When installing wiring, always select junction boxes that are appropriately sized to accommodate all connected wires and electrical devices. Two types of junction boxes were selected for this wiring. Carlin nail-on PVC switch junction box and Carlin 4 inches nail-on PVC ceiling junction box. Carlin nail-on PVC switch junction box details. Capacity 22.5 cubic inches. Specified number of wires of certain wire sizes that will fit in this junction box for easy calculation. Cable knockouts without cable clamps requiring the cable to be attached to the structure by staples or similar means. Holes for securing a switch or other electrical device to this junction box. 1/2 inch spacing mark from the stud when nailing the box for the thickness of a standard wall finish. Mounting nails. Carlin 4 inches nail on PVC ceiling junction box details. Capacity 20 cubic inches. Specified number of wires of certain wire sizes that will fit in this junction box for easy calculation. Cable knockouts with a cable clamps. Holes for securing a light fixture to this junction box. A recess in the junction box for resting against the lower part of the ceiling beams while nailing. Mounting nails. A14, 2 and 14, 3 nm non-metallic sheath cable will be used as the wiring cable. 14, 2 nm cable wires. White, neutral wire. Bare, ground wire. Black, hot wire. 14, 3 nm cable wires. White, neutral wire. Bare, ground wire. Black, hot wire. Red, hot wire. Second, any junction box must comply with NEC requirements for junction box type and size for type of wiring. Junction box size calculations shall be made in accordance with NEC requirements. An example of how to easily calculate how many wires a junction box can accommodate and, therefore, how many cables can enter the box. Calculation for 14, 2 nm cable. This switch junction box has a description inside of how many wires of a given size it can accommodate. The writing 11/14 inside the box means that this junction box can accommodate 11 14-gauge wires. 14, 2 nm cable contains 3 conductors, ground, neutral and hot. As per NEC, Each conductor that originates outside the box shall be counted as one. 4 equipment grounding conductors shall be counted as one for volume of the largest conductor. Each additional equipment grounding conductor should be counted as 1/4 of the volume of the largest conductor. Each yoke or strap of a device or equipment should be double counted based on the largest conductor connected to it. The most popular 3-way system contains 2 3-way switches, light outlet, and the power source, circuit breaker, receptacle, or any energized junction box available with the same size wires. 3-way switch junction box with cable from the power source. 14. 2 cable from the power source. 14. 3 cable to the second 3-way switch. The filling of the junction box for 14, 2 and 14, 3 nm cable is 8 wires, 2 for switch, 1 for ground wires, 5 for current carrying wires, of the 11 wires that can fit in it. 3-way switch junction box with cable to the light outlet. 14. 3 cable from the first 3-way switch. 14. 2 cable to the light outlet. The filling of the junction box for 14, 2 and 14, 3 nm cable is 8 wires, 2 for switch, 1 for ground wires, 5 for current carrying wires, of the 11 wires that can fit in it. Light outlet junction box. 14. 2 cable from the 3-way switch. The filling of the junction box for 14, 2 cable is 3 wires, 1 for ground wire, 2 for current carrying wires, of the 10 wires that can fit in it. All cables must be secured to the structure within 12 inches of the cable entry to the junction box using listed staples or other approved means. Cable inside the junction box must be long enough to be correctly spliced. Connecting, splicing, of the 3-way switch junction box with the cable from the first 3-way switch and the cable to the light outlet. Cable from the first 3-way switch. Cable to the light outlet. Cables stapled to a stud within 12 inches of the cable entry into the junction box. Remove the cable sheath. The cable sheath shall extend into the junction box not less than 1/4 inch. The cable sheath extends into the junction box no less than 1/4 inch. Wire nuts for various purposes and sizes for connecting wires. Green wire nuts should only be used to connect the ground wire. The green wire nut has a special hole at the top that allows the bare pigtail of the ground wire, one of the ground wires to be spliced, to be exposed for connection to an electrical device after splicing. Popular tan wire nut which that fits most connections. Group the ground wires, bare, together, separate the longer pigtail wire, trim the remaining wires to no shorter than 6 inches. Connect the trimmed wires to the longer pigtail wire using the green wire nut, and insert the connected wires into the junction box. Spliced ground wires inserted into the junction box. 3 to 5 twists are sufficient, as too many twists may damage the wire. Ground pigtail wire left outside the junction box. Group the neutral, white wires, cut them to no shorter than 6 inches. Strip the ends of the wires about 1/2 inch, twist them, and splice them with a wire nut. Insert spliced wires into the junction box. Wires trimmed and ready for splicing. The length of free wire from the removed cable jacket must be at least 6 inches. At least 3 inches of wire must extend from the front of the junction box. The end of the cable to be connected, depending on the type of connection, should be stripped to a length of approximately 1/2 inch. Spliced neutral wire inserted into the junction box. 3 to 5 twists of the wires are sufficient to prevent damage to the wire insulation. Group all remaining wires and pigtail wire. Cut them to no less than 6 inches in length and insert them into the junction box. Connected wires inserted into the junction box. Splicing of the junction box of a 3-way switch with a cable from the power source and a cable to the second 3-way switch. Cable from the power source. Cable to the second 3-way switch. Cable stapled to a stud within 12 inches of the cable entry into the junction box. Remove the cable sheath. Cable sheath removed. To splice the ground wire, bare, with a standard wire nut, not the green one, group the ground wires together. Trim all wires to no shorter than 6 inches. Take a piece of the same size ground wire for the pigtail and splice it to the ground wires from the junction box using a standard wire nut of the appropriate size. Wires from the junction box and pigtail wire twisted together. Pigtail wire. Connection secured with a standard wire nut. Insert the connected wires into the junction box. Spliced wires inserted into the junction box. Group neutral wires, splice them and insert them into the junction box. Twisting the ends of the wires with pliers ensures a better connection. Spliced neutral wires inserted into the junction box. Group the remaining wires and pigtail wire and cut them to no shorter than 6 inches. Trimmed wires. Insert the trimmed wires into the junction box. Wires inserted into the junction box. Splicing of the light outlet junction box. Cable from the 3-way switch. Cable stapled to a stud within 12 inches of the cable entry into the junction box. Remove the cable sheath. Cable sheath removed. Trim the wires to no shorter than 6 inches. Wires trimmed. Insert the wires into the junction box. Wires inserted. Rough wiring is done and ready for inspection or finishing the walls with drywall or something else. 3-way switch details. Yoke. Switch lever. Installation screws. Screw holes for the switch wall plate. Wiring terminals. Ears supporting the switch on the wall. 3-way switch, rear view. Ground terminal, green screw. Hot, common, terminal, black screw. Hot terminals for traveler wires, gold screws. Push-in connection terminals, only for 14-gauge solid wire. This type of connection is not recommended due to poor connection quality, which becomes a problem over time. Side screw connection recommended. Wire release mechanism after push-in connection. Measuring device when using push-in back wiring. Side view of the switch. With common terminal, black screw, and one of the 2 traveler wire terminals. Side view of the switch. With ground terminal, green screw, and one of the 2 traveler wire terminals. Connecting the 3-way switch to wires from a junction box containing the cable from the first 3-way switch and the cable to the light outlet. Pull the wires out of the junction box. Wires from the junction box that will be connected to the 3-way switch. Ground, bare, wire that should be connected to the ground terminal, green screw, of the switch. Hot, black, wire from the 14-2 cable to the light outlet which should be connected to the common hot terminal, black screw, of the switch. Hot, black and red, wires from the 14-3 cable from the first 3-way switch, which should be connected to the traveler wire terminals, gold screws, of the switch. Strip the ends of the wires about 1/2 inch. Ends of wires are stripped of insulation. Make a loop at the end of each wire. Loop at the end of each wire. Connect the ground wire, bare, from the junction box to the ground terminal, green screw of the switch. Ground wire connected. Connect the hot wire, black, from the cable to the light outlet to the hot common terminal, black screw, of the switch. Connected hot wire from the cable to light outlet. Connect one of the hot traveler wires, black in this example, but it doesn't matter which one is connected first, from the cable from the first three-way switch to one of the hot traveler wires terminals, gold screw, of the switch. Connected one traveler wire, black, from the cable from the first three-way switch. Connect the second hot traveler wire, red, from the cable from the first three-way switch to the other hot traveler wire terminal, gold screw, of the switch. Second hot traveler wire, red, connected to the switch. Insert the wires into the junction box. Make sure the ground wire does not touch any of the hot screws of the switch. Wires inserted. Secure the switch to the junction box and level it. Switch secured to the junction box. Switch wall plate. Install the switch wall plate. Switch installation complete. Connecting the three-way switch to the wires from the junction box containing the cable from the power source and the cable to the second three-way switch. Pull the wires out of the junction box. Wires from the junction box that will be connected to the three-way switch. Ground, bare, wire that should be connected to the ground terminal, green screw, of the switch. Hot, black, wire from the 14-2 cable from the power source which should be connected to the common hot terminal, black screw, of the switch. Hot, black and red, wires from the 14-3 cable to the second three-way switch, which should be connected to the traveler wire terminals, gold screws, of the switch. Strip the ends of the wires about 1/2 inch. Ends of wires are stripped of insulation. Make a loop at the end of each wire. Loop at the end of each wire. Connect the ground wire, bare, from the junction box to the ground terminal, green screw, of the switch. Ground wire connected. Connect the hot wire, black, from the cable from the power source to the hot common terminal, black screw, of the switch. Connected hot wire from the cable from the power source. Connect one of the hot traveler wires, red in this example, but it doesn't matter which one is connected first, from the cable to the second three-way switch to one of the hot traveler wires terminals, gold screw, of the switch. Connected one traveler wire, red, from the cable to the second three-way switch. Connect the second hot traveler wire, black, from the cable to the second three-way switch to the other hot traveler wire terminal, gold screw, of the switch. Second hot traveler wire, black, connected to the switch. Insert the wires into the junction box. Make sure the ground wire does not touch any of the hot screws of the switch. Wires inserted. Secure the switch to the junction box and level it. Switch secured to the junction box. Install the switch wall plate. Switch installation complete. Keyless light socket with installation screws. Holes enabling mounting to most junction boxes. Knockouts that can be opened for mounting the keyless socket to the smaller junction boxes. Rear view of the keyless light socket. Neutral wire connection terminal, silver screw. Hot wire connection terminal, gold screw. Connection of the keyless light socket to the light outlet junction box. Pull the wires out of the junction box. Wires from the junction box to connect to the light fixture. Ground wire, bare, that should be connected to the ground terminal, if any, or ground wire of the light fixture. Hot wire, black, that should be connected to the hot terminal, gold screw, or hot wire of the light fixture. Neutral wire, white, that should be connected to the neutral terminal, silver screw, or neutral wire of the light fixture. Insert the ground wire, bare, into the junction box and leave it free if the light fixture does not require a ground connection. Strip the ends of the wires about 1/2 inch. Ground wire left free inside the junction box. Ends of wires are stripped of insulation. Make a loop at the end of each wire. Loop at the end of each wire. Connect the neutral wire, white, from the junction box to the neutral terminal, silver screw, of the keyless light socket. Neutral wire connected to the neutral terminal of the keyless light socket. Connect the hot wire, black, from the junction box to the hot terminal, gold screw, of the keyless light socket. Hot wire connected to the hot terminal of the keyless light socket. Pre-install the keyless light socket installation screws. Pre-installed installation screws. Secure the keyless light socket to the junction box. Install the light bulb. Keyless light socket installation complete. Installation of three-way system is complete and safe to use. Power the system directly from the electrical panel or from a junction box that contains the same size wires, but whose electrical circuit is not designed to power any special electrical equipment in the building. Why is this system 100% NEC compliant? Both switches have a grounded conductor, neutral, wire in the switch junction boxes, as required by the NEC for certain building spaces, making this system suitable for all rooms in all buildings. All wiring shown meets NEC requirements for installation, junction boxes dimensions and electrical finish for safe use. Test the installed three-way system. If this video is helpful, please subscribe. Comments are welcome.